Okay, there we go. Very challenging out here. All right, we are just getting set. This is the home. I'm going to walk a little bit, but we want to make sure our audio is good, which I think it is. Let's see. Yep, let me just double check. There's a lot more media here today, so that's challenging. I'm going to give you a full update coming up, but this is Tucson. This is a continuing coverage, day 9 search for Nancy Guthrie. And we're going to be walking in just a moment. I think this is going to work out. Right. Okay. Um, yeah. Oh, good. Thank you, Christina. Audio is nice and clear, as a matter of fact. Audio is nice and clear. Again, the challenge is it's so warm and shade is a commodity. And I'm going to walk so I can show you a little bit of what we're seeing here. Now, right now, we are live on this is the home. This is the home. That's the driveway. You can see there is the sheriff right there who's kind of standing guard. This is the driveway where she went in. And we're going to do a complete walk. I want to show you the media, how much. Well, so you can see it starts right down here. And then we will give you the latest just because it's very, very extensive. You can see it goes all the way. This is her street. And then I'm going to show you where the media is basically set up. But here's what you need to know is this is day 9 of the search. So it goes, see where those cars are? That's where it starts. But this is day 9 of the search for Nancy Guthrie in Tucson. And the media just keeps building. Now, as of right now, there's no press briefing scheduled. And then it comes all the way down. There's news crews still arriving. Here's the home. See the police out in front. It's another sunny day here in Tucson. And then this is where you can see the media all set up. And some people doing stand-ups. So the story's getting bigger, not smaller. And I'm going to update you as far as that. We were up there yesterday. And then you can see the media all the way. This is like the basic staging area where the bulk of them are. Then it goes all the way down that street right over there. Oh, well, this is her street. So as far as you can see, the cars parked. That's where the media is set up for camp. So, but we're going to, yesterday we were up at this hill and they were going into the backyard of a neighbor over there. So they want everybody to stay on the right side over on this side. Now, the only problem is very little to no shade over here. But at least this way, we can kind of stay out of the way and At the same time, when people tune in, you're right here at the scene. So now we're going to be, let me just make sure. Um, Again, right now we are, okay. Yeah, it's challenging, but it's doable. Okay, you can see the little memorial that is in front of, this is her home. This is where she lived. Now, there's a couple of things that I want to point out. And again, people want to see this is the house. And we were here yesterday. As you can tell, huge media here today. And then we were also at Annie's house. So, but all they have is the sheriff right there. So they're kind of standing guard, so to speak, over the home. Now, there's several things about this that I want to touch on. And again, in just a moment, we are going to be also live on the radio as well. So right now we're live. Yes, the signal is a little spotty. Well, there's so many people up here. Thank you, Chris M. I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. And I am aware that it does freeze sometimes, but there's really nothing. I mean, when I say there's nothing I can do, I mean, yesterday we were in a good location in the shade and it seemed to be good cell service. But at the same token, it was on the other side and they are requesting everybody really stay on this side. Now the sun is straight ahead. So I know that because of the cell service, it can be a little glitchy. But here's what you need to know. So this is day 9, it was a week ago Sunday. Now we've also seen that there's definitely some things that the sheriff, who, by the way, the sheriff is they're still in charge of the investigation, that if they could do it over, I think he has said that, if we could have a mulligan. Number one, they definitely broke this down a little too soon. That's number one. Number two, this did have crime scene tape up and then it was taken down. I think they've also I think they've acknowledged that if he could do it all over again, that they would, in fact, well, I don't know if he has said that, but other people have said, in hindsight, they really should have blocked off the sister's house as well, Annie, as a crime scene. And that was not done. So, I mean, without question, there's definitely been mistakes that have been made here. And I think part of it is just, they don't, let's face it, they don't get, when's the last time there was and I also want to point out, so everyone, you're going to hear today, everyone's going to focus on the fact that whoever sent the ransom note, that they gave a deadline of 5 o'clock. And the only thing about that is it possible that the ransom note is not legit? Is it possible? There's a film crew right now. But what if, in fact, the ransom notes that they've been receiving, what if just she disappeared and then someone trying to take advantage of the situation decided to send out those notes to try to take advantage of the situation? So you can see these film crews, we won't get in their way, but that's unknown because supposedly the ransom knew about stuff inside the house. The authorities seem to be taking it very seriously. But so just to go back, number one, if you remember, it was it was less than a week ago that they broke down the scene and they took down the yellow tape. And then some media went up to knock on the door. And that's when media could see some blood on the front step, which is right over there. So we could see the front of the house right over there. So they're saying that a family member dropped her off up that driveway on Saturday night, over a week ago now. And that first they said the son-in-law, Annie Guthrie's husband. Then he kind of backtracked, the sheriff, Manos, who he then said, well, it was a family member. So now it could have been a misspeak. It could have been a misspeak. It could have been he was trying to correct some information that had been put out there. That is unknown. So that can happen. Sometimes, it's moving very rapidly and they can misspeak on some of these things. So, but right now it's 11:04 here in Tucson and it is 1:04 on the East Coast. And folks, again, this is the big story, but it's so bizarre. Is it possible that she went missing and then someone sent that ransom note? Now, as of right now, authorities have said that they do not have a suspect or suspects, and that is a complete open investigation. And that's coming from the sheriff. So that's where we stand right now. So this is odd. We do have the FBI is very honestly involved in this. And as a matter of fact, Kash Patel, supposedly unrelated, is going to be visiting the area. So thank you, Pete. All right. So we're live on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. And we are also live on our website, which is depetro.com. And right now, for this special coverage, we are live on YouTube and we are live on Facebook, and we're also live on TikTok during this time. Now, check out depetro.com, which is, we do have sponsors, brought to you by the Cohasset Inn, 226 Cohasset Avenue, West Warwick. We'd like to say lunch, dinner, drinks in the lounge, waiting for you at the Cohasset Inn. So this is, like everyone else, I know a number of people have some theories. I know one individual put out that they were definitely looking at someone, and it was a family member. But that, they're the only ones that have reported that. And then since that was put out, we have not heard anything. So as of right now, this is very bizarre. And I'm not sure what's supposed to happen at the deadline of 5 o'clock, because a lot of people are commenting that Savannah Guthrie seemed pretty desperate when they did that video. And at this point, a lot of people, rightly or wrongly, interpret it. I'm going to just walk around a little bit. Although I know that can affect the Wi-Fi, so maybe we'll stay put. But here you can see, so reporters were going right up to the front door. And that's where then they could see some evidence. Now, because of the police, no one's going on the property. And when they released the house, and they said the house was no longer a crime scene, there was also a feeling that family could go into it. I know there was a search Saturday night at Annie Guthrie's home with the son-in-law, her husband, Tommaso. We were there in front of the home. They're making it clear that was a voluntary search. So a couple of things. If let's stay with this, that this is that Nancy Guthrie has been abducted And let's even say, until we hear differently, that this was actually a kidnapping. I want you to understand the unusual nature of an 84-year-old woman and the fact that she just had disappeared. So I wonder, is the kidnapping, is the ransom note, I haven't seen it. I mean, it's so difficult to try to process whether or not it is legit. But what I was discussing with someone, obviously, there's media from all over, and everyone's talking about the case and talking last night. And what is unknown is, if those ransom notes had not been sent to the local station and also to TMZ, would that have affected the investigation? Would it just be, okay, there's something odd because they're saying you're going to go back to that timeline? And I want to walk through the timeline because I think it's important. And I see people posting questions. Again, we're live. You're watching on TikTok. Make sure you tap the screen and follow the page. You can put where you're watching below our pages. You can share on Facebook. But I want to come back to, at some point, is the timeline going to change? They did. Now I see there's a drone up. It's the first drone I'm seeing, but there's more media arriving, so we're not exactly sure who that might be from. Fox has been the most consistent with the drone, but we don't know if that's theirs. But I want to come back to, if we go through the timeline, and a lot of times in covering these stories, and by the way, I do want to mention, they did release some Brown University, Providence Police body cam footage. Now, I've posted it on TikTok, I posted it on Facebook, obviously, YouTube, Instagram. And I mean, as far as, we had heard about the calls. And as someone that was first on, we were really there at the scene right after that happened on December 13th. But you can see just, the chaos. Providence Police, though, to their credit, they definitely kept things on track once they were inside the building. But we had heard that they were going after someone in the basement of the building. And you actually see the video of that. And keep in mind that, they thought that the individual was still out there. But let me come back to it again. If you're tuning in right now and looking at this, and some people may watch it later on demand, this is the home of Nancy Guthrie. This is in the Catalina Hills. I want to come back to the timeline. There's media obviously everywhere. So you may see people walk by. A lot of them are press that are in from all over. But I want to, let's go back to the timeline, which is, it is a fact. The Uber driver did come to this residence and pick someone up. Now, I think it's interesting. Someone had sent me a message saying, is it possible the Uber driver picked someone up? Were they chatting with the person? Did they get a good look at the person? Did the person have a mask and sunglasses on? Because the sheriff had said, oh, no, we have the video from the Uber. But someone was, that hasn't been released. But someone was asking, is it possible that was someone else that in fact got in the Uber? I have not heard that from law enforcement. But let's stay with what we know, which is that she got picked up here, went over to the sister's house with the son-in-law. They had dinner. They played some board games, I believe. And then between 9:45 to 9:30, right now the timeline is that Nancy Guthrie, according to family, she was driven back here. They She entered through, see straight ahead, you can see I'm going to walk a little bit closer in just a moment, but you can see I think that's a green barrel over there, but you could see where the driveway would go up and then someone enters. Apparently she entered from into the garage. So, and I believe as we've talked about, they have the garage door opening and closing last Saturday night at that time. This is the street where she lives. It's out there. I don't feel compelled to give out the address, but it's out there. It's right at the Catalina Hills. There's no street lights around here. It's very dark. And so as a result of that, being around here at night in the early morning hours can be very, very challenging. So I want to just go, you can see right there where the driveway goes up. I had mentioned there's the nice little memorial in the front. And so that is, if the timeline holds, this is the last place that she was seen on that, if it holds. And right now, that's what law enforcement, the sheriff, that they're going on, is that she went right up that driveway. Family member dropped her off and watched her enter through the garage. And now, Sunday, the Daily Mail is reporting that she didn't actually attend service, that instead she used to just watch online. She actually had not gone to church since COVID, but someone noticed that she was not logged in. Now, that person has not come forward, and it could be someone that does, know her and notices every Sunday. We'll walk a little bit every Sunday when, in fact, here you see the sheriff right here. Every Sunday when uh, they know whether or not she's there or she's not there. Everything set up right over here. It's a better shot of the front of the home. And so this is the front. Now, she apparently did not enter through the front door. Instead, they're saying, and you can see the sheriff right there. We'll stay right here for a minute. We'll move around a little bit. Everybody has their positions. It is pretty wild with all these cactuses, and you see the palm trees. This is definitely very different terrain. And even she does have a little bit of grass, but you can tell set off the road. There's so people can see for stars at night. That's why it's very, very dark at night. You don't see any street lights, but it is, it is, admittedly, yes, of course, it is a story because it's a known person's mother. I mean, that's true, but right now it is the story captivating the nation. I think people should know that the media would not be here. The media wouldn't be running and covering it if there was not tremendous interest in it. And it's a real mystery. I know a lot of people mention, the networks and different news organizations that are running nonstop coverage of it. And the reason is because there's interest in it and that people can't it's like they can't get enough coverage of it. So, but it is, well, without question, of course, it's definitely, would it have this type of attention if it was not the mother of Savannah Guthrie? Probably not. There'd definitely be a search, but it just makes it that much more unusual a case. Now, right now, we are live on TikTok. We are live on our Facebook page. We're live on YouTube, and here's another sheriff pulling up. This is interesting. Okay, so something's up. Again, we are right now, this is in front of the home of Nancy Guthrie, and another Pima County sheriff has shown up. They are in front of this house. This is Nancy Guthrie's home. They're here now, 24/7 around the clock. I also want to mention, for those of you that have watched some of the missing persons cases that we've done, uh, those of you, Jane Rice and others may remember with Charlotte Lester, the Warwick police, they were in front of Mark Perkins' home for a solid month. But the only thing that was different was the whole house was roped off as a crime scene. That's the longest. Okay, now this could be something, or this could just be some kind of a shift change. We're not exactly sure, but and we have two sheriffs. Whenever there's some activity, you see here everybody start to scramble, which makes sense. I don't want to be in your way. Okay. Again, definitely some activity. All right, and it could just be a shift change on our car. It's tough to tell. It's not look like resident, but it could be a resident. So again, right now, it very easily could have just been some kind of a shift change. But it is interesting that this vehicle was stopped right here. And again, for those that are just tuning in, this is right outside the home of Nancy Guthrie. You can see it is a real media encampment. Could just be a local, or could just be a large caravan with tinted windows. But it could just be a shift change with the sheriffs. Now, right now, it also should be noted that a lot of people, let's talk about what some people are saying. Some people are saying, I also want to remind everyone that's listening, one of our sponsors, which is Propane Plus, for all your propane needs. Check them out online at propaneplus.com, serving Rhode Island and Massachusetts. So again, this is the Nancy Guthrie home. There's Cody from Court TV. He's here. But some people are claiming that with Savannah Guthrie, that message that we heard, the video of Saturday night, we're going to walk a little bit, that basically she was pleading for the remains of Savannah Guthrie, her mom, Nancy Guthrie, remains to be returned. So now, again, that no one knows right now. No one knows. We'll walk back down there on this way. But people are conscious. It's an 84-year-old woman, and we've heard that she certainly needs medication. And she's been missing now. This is day 9 of a search. You can see the media is getting bigger, not smaller. I'll also go for a little walk up the hill. We were here yesterday. This person's filming. Initially thought maybe it was law enforcement, but it's not. This is where they were yesterday. And again, they also were going through, I think, the septic tank yesterday in the back. And these cactuses are wild. And these people now put up a no trespassing sign. So the police were looking yesterday over there. It's so barren in this terrain. And everyone, he's going to come around. He's waiting to see where this is going to come out. Whoa. So there's the house. You can see that this neighbor, it sits right there. This is actually a good shot. You can see that it slopes down. That's her home right there. And what's interesting is this is a really nice section, Catalina Hills. And at nighttime, oh, okay, there's a drone going up. And so at nighttime, they purposely have no streetlights because of people, they call that light pollution, so they can enjoy the stars. So now I'm planning on being here early tomorrow morning, and it's challenging. It's challenging driving in some of these areas that have no streetlights, only because I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's definitely not the norm. So as of right now, I know people want an update. Today could come and go with no press briefing. We go back. I've heard some different individuals, and again, for those that are tuning in, we are we're live with our radio partners on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. But you can also watch. Right now, we're live on TikTok, and we're also live on YouTube, and we're also live on Facebook. If you're on TikTok, make sure you please tap the screen. Make sure you follow the page. I think we can do better than what we have. If everybody right now tapped, we have a lot more. That helps, gets our product out. Also, I want to mention on all of our platforms, we do have the Providence Police body cam footage of them arriving at Brown University. But staying with Nancy Guthrie, I don't, no one knows where this is going to go. No one knows where this is, but I want to come back. There's different individuals that of law enforcement, and a couple of things. A number of different members of law enforcement have said that immediately this area was blocked off as a crime scene. The daughter's house, Annie Guthrie, her house should have been blocked off as a crime scene. Also, it was last Tuesday at the press briefing where the sheriff said that they had processed this scene at Nancy Guthrie's home and that they got out everything that they were looking for. So they released it. And then that was unusual. A lot of people have second guessed that, saying, what was the rush? Why not keep it blocked off, taped off in case you need it, to make sure no one goes in and out, to make sure that no one could retrieve anything. And then they kind of doubled back, and it seems as though they don't want to put the yellow tape back up, but they do have, as you can see, the sheriff in front, which the sheriff claims was requested by Savannah Guthrie and her family to almost as a layer of security for the home. But at the same token, people have questioned whether or not they should have done that in the first place. So as of right now, they did go out of their way, meaning the sheriff, they went out of their way to say that there are no suspects. And right now, there are no people of interest regards to the investigation. And I'm aware that Ashley Banfield, she really kicked things into high gear a little bit when she came out right away last week and said that her sources told her that the son-in-law, Annie Guthrie's husband, was a suspect. Now, since that happened, notice the sheriff, they pushed back on that. And thank you, everybody on TikTok. Make sure you tap that screen, follow the page. Okay, so now we have another drone going up. So more media arriving. Now, I also want to point out, and this is important, that the roof, there's been talk and people have seen that the FBI agents were up on top of her roof. I think it was either Friday or Saturday. It may have been Friday. Now, what's a little unusual about that, there's a focus on that there was possibly a camera on the roof and that there was also floodlights. So now that, if in fact the FBI went up, because they are involved in the investigation, if they went up and then they removed a camera from the roof that was not taken by the sheriffs, Pima County sheriffs, when they were canvassing, when they were processing the house, that's really unusual. And some reporting is suggesting that it's possible that the floodlights, floodlights, that they may have had some kind of a camera attached to them. And that's, again, we know that it's been reported in the ransom note that the ransom note, they had some reference to the floodlights. But, again, I want to touch on, and is it possible that the ransom note, what do you guys think? You could put in the comment if you're watching, whether it's on TikTok or Facebook or YouTube, on whether or not you think the ransom notes are legitimate, or is it a red herring to then just really throw off the investigation? And what I mean by that is not intentional, as a matter of fact. But here's what you also have to look at. See, look at where we are. It's so dark here at night, and it's very barren. And I don't want to say deserted, but it's secluded. I think all of the homes across from where you're looking right now, whether it's Nancy's home or some of her neighbors, everybody, this is the Catalina foothills. Everybody has at least 1 acre of property. It's been reported, these are all the property here are all upwards of 1 million. So I think you have to look at it. Is that reasonable that in the middle of the night, somebody pulled up here, was able to get into that home, that house that you're looking at, and they were able to abduct an 84-year-old woman? I'm still having a tough time processing that. 5 o'clock is the deadline. That's right. It's exactly right. We're going to find out. And as of right now, there is still, now we don't know, have they heard from whoever's sending these ransom notes? We don't know. That's a very good question. How do we know she was even taken home? Was she taken home? Was she the one that activated the garage door? That's unknown. That's a real unknown. I mean, it's so odd. It is, as I like to, a lot of times when we follow these cases, it is a matter of whether or not did in fact, was, if the timeline starts to fall apart, then what happens? So they have not released what would happen if they don't meet the deadline of 5 o'clock. That has not been established. And what I mean by that is the person that sent it has not said or else, or what exactly, does that mean? If, at 4:59, it could be, the ransom could be fake. You wonder, is it possible that something happened to her? I've heard people, because remember, they were also getting video from there's a convenience store, gas station right near where the sister lives. So, you know, I, some people have speculated, what if she never did return to the house? What if something happened on the way? There was a report of, I think it was a white van that was in the parking lot of the gas station near Annie Guthrie's house. And what if someone, again, this is total speculation, hypothetical though, they're saying a family member took her home. So what if whoever's the family member stops at the gas station, says, I'll be right back, leaves, someone in the white van approaches the vehicle, takes her out, abducts her, rides off, and then the family member continues here, opens the garage door, maybe enters the house, maybe not, shuts the garage door, and there was actually no abduction. Now, I also want to point out there's things that the police have not revealed. And what I mean by that is they have not revealed, do they have video surveillance? Do they have video where at one point on the ride home, there's two people in the vehicle or three, and then suddenly, well, let's stick with two. Do they have video that at one point there's two people riding in the vehicle, and then 2 miles ahead, there's only one person riding in the vehicle? Well, then that would bring it back to the gas station. And if that's the case, it still comes back to, then where is she? I know, like many of you, I mean, obviously, people want to know more. People are asking, do the police know? Are the police withholding information? They absolutely are. But you got to remember, and maybe I think people would know this, maybe they don't, but it's very possible. No, the Uber driver, the sheriff said the Uber driver was cleared. She was picked up in an Uber, and brought to the sister's house. Was that the norm? So I've driven from here to the sister's house. It's not that far, but I don't know. Why would you? I don't know. I don't. You start going down a rabbit hole. Why would you send an Uber for an 84-year-old woman with a pacemaker? I mean, maybe they do that all the time. Maybe they do it. I don't know. But then they drive home. I want to repeat, according to the sheriff, because he was asked that, the Uber driver has been cleared. So, but what was going on that no one could come to get her? Was there something being set up? Yeah, she can't walk 50 yards. And was there something being set up? I don't, that's odd. I want to totally jump off again right now. We are live on AM 1380, 99.9 FM. Now you can also, we're live on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, please tap the screen, and then we make sure you follow the page for updates. And then I did see the public information officer this morning. I was at the Pima County Sheriff's Office. He said right now, no update planned. But I want to just throw out some other crimes and things we learned. For instance, for those of you that followed OJ, and maybe some people did not, but there was the talk that everything was about the Bronco. Everything was about the Bronco, except when he do you remember he said to Cato Kalin, "Hey, do you want to get dinner?" And Cato Kalin, who was living in the pool house, said, "Yeah, I'd love to get dinner, OJ." And then, um, and then OJ said, "Okay." And they went to McDonald's drive-through in his Bentley. In his Bentley, they went to the McDonald's drive-through. So a couple of things were pointed out by that. Number one, the fastest possible meal that you could have or get is in fact McDonald's drive-through. Number two, they also determined that they believed that OJ had his tools in his Bronco, so to speak. That OJ had, the mask, that he had the gloves, that he was planning on going over there. The dinner with Cato Kalin was designed as an alibi. But then Cato Kalin, when I covered the Simpson trial, Cato Kalin said that when they got back to OJ's house, Brentwood and Rockingham and Brentwood, when they got back to Rockingham, as he started walking to his pool house with his bag of McDonald's that OJ had just bought for him, he got an odd feeling, and he looked back, and OJ was just standing there watching him, actually watching to make sure that he went back to the pool house. So we also know, just to stay with that for a moment, this guy's drone came down. We also know that, staying with that for a moment, OJ's whole alibi was that he was in Chicago when it happened. And they had to track him down in Chicago. That's why I had the limo there. The limo driver said they saw a dark figure cross the lawn and then run into the house, and then suddenly lights went on. And then, because the limo driver was taking him to LAX. So I think he was going to a golf tournament for Hertz. But anyhow, my point is, OJ figured, okay, well, I don't want Cato Kalin in the Bronco to say, "Hey, what's with the gloves and the mask and the tools that you have there?" So they took, like, can you imagine? You say, "Hey, do you want to go to dinner?" Yes. Okay, we'll go to the McDonald's drive-through. We'll take my Bentley rolls for. I mean, that doesn't happen. So that's right. Now, but getting back to this, folks, and I know right now, just to reset, we are in front of the home. We'll walk back down in a minute, of Nancy Guthrie. This is day 9. Yes, Savannah Guthrie doing those videos that are gut-wrenching, heart-wrenching to watch. Yes, it's garnering attention. Yes, she is a celebrity. NBC, look at NBC, Winter Olympics, plus they had the Super Bowl. So NBC is flying. Now there's another sheriff arriving when they go down. Could have just been change and shift. So, but the videos being released by Savannah Guthrie and her sister and brother, without question, it is dominating. Thank you for following our page. Make sure on TikTok you tap the screen. And on Facebook, make sure you like and follow. So of course it is. But I also want to point out, I don't know where this would have gone if suddenly they had not received the ransom note. For those that are wondering, and I see people putting comments, "I am sick of hearing," well, then I don't know what to tell you. Then you're going to have to watch something else, because you can see all of the media's here. Everyone's vested in the story. This is a real live mystery. This isn't CSI. This isn't a TV show. This isn't a Netflix special. By the way, oh, thank you for some of the live gifts on TikTok as well. Let's light up that. You have all the different live gifts. I know it's so awful. And I think some people are actually, I think some people are a little unsympathetic for, okay, so I'm live right now. Okay. Okay. What's that? Oh, okay. I'll talk later. I'll be done. Okay. We'll talk in a few minutes. Okay. So, okay. Thanks. So, but folks, this isn't CSI. This isn't, oh, good. By the way, I have a number of followers here in the Tucson area that are reaching out, and I certainly appreciate that. I also heard from Tucson police ask if I want to do a ride along. We'll see. Let's see how this story goes. Oh, good. Tucson's beautiful. My goodness. But I want to just play this out. This isn't, the people that are saying, I'm so sick of this story, they're the same people that will watch CSI. They're the same people that will watch something on Netflix. This is real. This is an 84-year-old woman that we have believed vanished. Now, what I think, and I want to come back to the point is, and we don't know, by the way, the answer to this. What we don't know is if, in fact, the ransom note had not been received to both the local station and TMZ, and they received more than one. So is that someone, that could be someone in the Philippines, that could be someone in another country trying to make a quick score of 6 million in Bitcoin. And I know now people are debating whether or not Bitcoin can be traced. So, and what I mean by that is this a matter? Thank you everyone for tapping the screen on TikTok. Is this, if those notes had not been sent, would this have then just been a missing persons case? And then, you really start to zero in on exactly what happened to her. And, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, that we won't know. We don't know because right now the authorities are treating this as though there's another drone in the air, as it is real. We don't know the condition of what did police find inside the house. Do the police have a working theory? Did they have a theory and now they have backed off it? I also want to mention, let's say, for the sake of just our purposes and speculation on this, because right now it's all speculation. They have dogs, they've had dogs out, they've had canines out. They certainly did. They've been searching all over. They've been having the drone up at night. I think Fox did, and even the authorities have infrared. But let's just say this. Let's say this was planned. Let's say, someone said, I know of there's a person that lives around here, and her daughter is someone of means. And what we're going to do is, we're going to kidnap this person, and then we're going to try to get money. Well, just think about this, and I don't know the exact answer. I mean, I think we'll find out at some point, but my point is, wouldn't you leave the note inside? Wouldn't you say, by the time you're reading this, we have her, maybe even a picture of her as they're taking her. We have her. Do the following. You have 48 hours, blah, blah, blah. The ransom note didn't arrive until a couple of days later. And if they had just left a note inside, I don't think that they, you don't release that. They wouldn't have let everyone in the media know that they had received the ransom. So my point is, if you go to all that trouble, if you go to all the trouble of, if you get caught kidnapping, that is essentially life in prison, if not a very, very long prison sentence. So if that's the case, and you're going to go through all that planning, and you have the Bitcoin set up, and you have a way to contact the authorities, but you contact a local station, and then you contact TMZ, I wonder if, in fact, I know people, here's what people are saying. Well, they think that it could have been someone local because they contacted a local station. But we all know, wherever you are in the world, literally in the world, you could go online and find out, what's a local TV station. Notice they didn't send it to a newspaper. So they sent it to the local TV station. You could do that. So I wonder, I mean, is it possible that there's someone, and again, pick a country, there's someone who is, let's say it's one of those hackers. Think of the hackers that they go into a city or town or a company database and they say, we have hacked in. And if you don't meet our demands, then we're going to destroy your computer system. So the people that do that, I would think that that's someone familiar with, meaning that they've done this before. Is this someone, are they looking at someone who successfully received a ransom payment? There are large companies and there are cities and towns. I think it happened to the state where they were notified by some hackers and they said, I think it's normally like 500,000 or something like that, or it's 1 million. And the thing about them is if you follow their demands, they restore and they, leave your system alone. And then I'm pretty sure it happened to the state of Rhode Island, and then Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee, they had to go in, it is, and then change it. But my point is, if you had one of those people, who knows where they may live? And what I mean by that is they may live out of the country and they say, hey, I know how to do this. I know how to send an email that they can't trace. And I know how to set up where they have to send Bitcoin because that can't be traced. So is it possible that one of those individuals, there's no honor among thieves, sent the ransom note just trying to make a quick score? And then they realized that it was taken seriously and that all they're looking to do is make a quick hit here. That is still unknown. So, but today is in fact the deadline. That was the deadline that was set in motion, 5 o'clock. And again, this is outside of the Nancy Guthrie home. We seem to have decent reception right here. This is obviously, I don't want to say it's desolate, but it's very barren. And it is, it's like, I mean, to me, I feel as I'm looking around, it's like, I feel like Breaking Bad, but that's New Mexico, where, Walt and Jesse and Gus Frayne and Mike, and they're doing all these things in the desert. But for those that are, I mean, this is the story, especially I think since the Super Bowl ended and so many news stations or news outlets, I should say, had their news operations at the Super Bowl, that it was just so easy to be like, okay, now head over to Tucson. So what happens? Is there another note? Is there another message? Does Savannah Guthrie leave another video? The video that she released Saturday night, I mean, that was pretty gut wrenching. And you could tell just how emotional it is. And it's also torture. I mean, there's, people talking about this is torture on family. And are they really pleading to someone? And are they pleading to get her back alive? Or are they pleading to get her remains? Like when Savannah Guthrie said, we want, to celebrate her, are they saying, okay, she passed away while they had her, just tell her where the body is. And, at least then we can have a celebration of life and remember her. It was that the message. I want to also repeat right now, and you see the sheriff right there. This is a missing persons case. This is a Tucson, Arizona missing persons case. Now, I recognize it is true that the FBI is in assisting, and the FBI has a lot of tools that the locals don't have. and they were able to pull things off cell towers, and I even believe satellites. They have, from what I've been told, they have the ability to, you know, pull up satellite images, and and the locals wouldn't have access to that. They can, from what we understand, they can do a lot of things on the cloud that the locals are not able to do. So the question is, have they made gains there? I'll tell you a big question right now is, do they have an idea who is behind this and who's involved? And are they monitoring them, or do they, this really comes down to right now, they still don't have, where is she? So even if something happened, and it's all, I freely admit, it is speculation. And again, right now, thank you everybody on TikTok. Tap that screen, follow the page. Thank you for all the live gifts. I didn't do X today. We're just on Facebook and YouTube because I thought that maybe sometimes X puts an extra drain on the signal. But I also noticed X really boosts up the amount of people that watch. Remember, you have options. If you don't like the coverage, you don't have to watch whatever that coverage is. Remember that. You always have the option. If you don't want, I never understand these people. You're not forced to watch anything. Those days are over. You're not forced to watch the Olympics. You're not forced to watch any of this coverage. There are people that only want to follow the Jeffrey Epstein case. You're free to follow that. You do not have to follow this. There are people that tire of stories. I get that. There are people, I'm a little burnt out on all the rioting in Minneapolis. If anything, thank you everybody on TikTok. If anything, this has been, I'd rather look at this nice warm Tucson than watching those people that are battling ice in Minnesota, in Minneapolis. You can it's absolutely your choice, but I'm telling you, many of the people that are saying I'm tired of this and this is a real mystery. This is a real life mystery that is playing out. You have a woman who apparently left that home you're looking at, her home right there, in an Uber, went to dinner at her daughter's house, and then a family member drove her back here. And we're to believe that someone came in and entered the house, abducted her. They have her somewhere, and they're sending a ransom note that if Savannah Guthrie and her family, if they pay, that they'll return her. So that's where it is. This is, and what I want to also stress to people that for a lot of people that don't understand the attraction of this, I want to remind them, some people you may not realize, but this is live. This is an unknown. The ratings for NFL football, all the top shows on television are the NFL. All the top shows. And why is that? It's live. I think they're sending a drone back up right in front of us, which is fine. Yeah. No, go right ahead. No, it's fine. I'd love to see. Can I film your drone going up? Great. Um, but I want you to understand that all the top shows are NFL football. Why is that? It's unscripted. It's live, and it plays out right in front of you. Well, this is all the components of it. Where is she? What happened? Who is responsible? Where is this leading? All unknown. All the people that watch CSI and all these true crime on Netflix. This is an 84-year-old woman missing. I admit, we can walk through. It's all so odd. So many of these come back to who was the last person to see them alive. You could also, as some of you we've talked about, if in fact you were really interested in a kidnapping, and what I mean by that is pay this amount, 6 million in Bitcoin, and then we let her go. If you were going to do that, I wouldn't think target a 84-year-old woman. So we could end up finding out that this is really it was a missing persons case. And then when someone sent the ransom notes, here we go, that's what then threw in a red herring and threw off the whole thing. So that's very, very possible. And it also doesn't make sense. I also understand why people are saying and questioning why Savannah Guthrie's mom. It doesn't make sense. If you were going to try to do a kidnapping, which is a very difficult crime to try to pull off, if you're going to do that, you have people. I mean, it's now so common that there are billionaires, and whether it's Silicon Valley or New York City, I mean, there's definitely people that have billions that maybe don't have the right amount of security, and then as a result of that, you could be, the ransom could be 100 million, 500 million, or whatever it may be, 50 million, but not 6 billion in Bitcoin. All right, this is, we'll take a walk. Actually, folks, there's no activity really down there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to sign off right now. Thank you to everybody. Thank you, Chris, and everyone on TikTok. We're here. Thank you for tapping the screen. Thank you for the live gifts. Make sure you follow the page. Everybody on Facebook and YouTube, we are going to be doing periodic updates. Again, if something happens, obviously we'll be back. But this is day 9 coverage of Where is Nancy Guthrie.